No, not morning, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Thought I'd do this video whilst I'm on my way to the co-op, since the vending machines don't work up at my workplace. Who said it's because he emptied the shelves? Shut up, you. I'm not that bad. No, there's actually been a massive amount of rain over where I'm at, and it's basically caused the roof to flood, and effectively it has gone all over the vending machines, and so they had to be turned off and what have you for obvious health and safety reasons. But of course you didn't come here to find out about what selection I was denied. No, I want to go over a couple of points that I briefly missed over the Epping riots. And it now turns out that Tommy Robinson is also going to now start showing himself over at Epping. But one of the biggest points that I ended up missing, because I hadn't seen it at the time, was the fact that our two-tier policing stroke number one, our two-tier policing society decided that they were going to use their van, similar to how some people like to use their vehicles in Grand Theft Auto, and try to run one of our patriots over. Now, the fact that they had the nerve and the audacity to do this in the first place means that the copper who is responsible for nearly murdering one of our patriots is at best irresponsible, and at worst, a danger to the public. So at this point, I do sincerely hope that that officer has been put on administrative leave while an investigation takes place. Though in my humble opinion, he should have been sacked, just like that. Because attempted murder is not a good look for a police officer, is it? And let's face it, they wouldn't dare try this with the other groups that are protesting. And they certainly wouldn't attempt it if it was someone from the Muslim community, let's face it. It does seem like the only time that any kind of violence is justifiable is when it's against the white working class or the English patriots. And our two-tier police, they're basically doing everything they can to piss us off. Because it seems to me like our police are not very capable of policing protests when it comes down to peaceful ones. But they're all too good at policing violent ones. Because at least with violent ones, they can go out of their way to do whatever they want. Because that's the thing. When it comes down to violent protests, all they have to do is start beating the shit out of people. All they have to do is go out of their way to basically use any means necessary to try and stop people from being violent and what have you. Let me be clear. I'm not advocating for any violence in any way, shape or form. I will always be one of those people that calls for peace, much like Tommy Robinson. But right now we have a king and we have a prime minister, aka Keir the traitor Starmer, and of course a police force that is as peaceful as Genghis Khan. I'm starting to wonder if Sadiq Khan is also a bloodline of that. Anyway, the fact is the police should not be in a position where they're incapable of policing protests. If your police force doesn't know how to police peaceful protests, here's a tip: fucking learn how to. I accept that we have to have some responsibility as far as holding a peaceful protest is concerned, because we're the ones who choose it. But what I'm not going to sit here and accept is that it is all our responsibility. If our police are actively trying to cause things to get violent, then that shit is on them, not us. And our two-tier policing society should know to police apolitically, without bias. But we know they have a bias. The vast majority of the police seem to have a problem with anybody who is white English. And it's ironic when the lefties often come out and say, oh look, here are the racists on the far right. Yeah, who are the ones going out slagging people off? Who are the ones who will do everything they can to shut down debate? Who are the ones going out of their way to libelously slander us? Who are the ones who want to protect the rapists and the paedophiles and the violent offenders from their third world shitholes over our own kids? That's the thing, these leftoids are more morally bankrupt than Satan himself. And yet we're apparently the racist ones. We're apparently the ones who are stirring up hatred. We're the ones apparently who are inciting all the violence. I think all you need to defeat a left-wing NPC at this point is a mirror. Hell, I'm willing to bet if you had a proper TV debate with a lefty and a mirror, I'm sure the mirror would find some way to win. Because everything they preach, everything they say about us, the polar opposite is true. And it's usually them who are what they say we are. It is a disgusting world that we live in when we have subhumans in the world that literally want to prioritise the illegal invaders over our kids. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. But you know what also doesn't suit the narrative? Do you know what really doesn't suit the narrative? The fact that police are actually aiding Antifa. They're actually actively helping out the left-wingers by, they use the term bus. Last time I checked, they were police vans, not buses. I'm pretty sure buses come in single-decker and double-decker variants, and I'm sure they're meant to stop at different points. And they certainly wouldn't allow violent thugs from a prescribed terrorist group to be in this area or on their buses, quite frankly. So it does beg the question, police, Essex police, why are you shipping terrorists down to agitate the protests? Because these people, they're not far right, they're not thugs, they're not terrorists, they're not Nazis like the left wing like to call them. They're concerned parents, concerned patriots, and concerned citizens in general, who have a very big problem with their hotels being flooded with people who are unvetted, who we don't know who we are, we don't know what their intentions are, we don't know what they've done in their life, who are going out of their way to prey on our kids. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's a very fucking rational thing to be worried about, quite frankly. But these kinds of words are left. Stroke number 2, lost on these lefties. Because they all have the collective IQ of a lobotomized squirrel, and they're all frankly nuts, if you ask me. And I'm sure the grey ones want their nuts back. Anyway, these people can't rationalise properly with the real world, with common sense. Because if they could, they'd realise our kids are a little bit more important than some undocumented third world barbarians who have no intention of integrating, who have no intention of respecting our society and our beliefs, and have no respect for our women and our girls, and see them as sleeves. And I'm not talking about these sleeves. I think you know what I mean. I don't know about you, but I think I'd be prioritising kids and protecting them over these illegals coming over the channel. Those that usually are crossing at least a dozen safe countries just to get here. Because under EU law, they should be claiming asylum in the first safe EU country they get to. But we know they're not, which means they effectively have no legal or human right to be here. So those are the two main points that I want to bring up. I especially asked the second point to our two-tier policing society, especially Epping Police, because it's your job to ensure that these vermin don't get the chance to violate our kids, that don't get a chance to attack our women and children, that don't get the chance to turn our country or our cities or our towns or whatever into third world shitholes. When are we going to see some of you police grow a pair of balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually realise where the problems lie? When are we going to see you take out the real trash and not attempt to take us out? It seems like you do want a violent revolution, a civil war. And as I've said, I will not condone or advocate for that shit. But what I will say is if it does happen, if people do slip off the path, as it were, and they descend into this, you only have yourselves to blame, two-tier police, Keir the traitor Starmer. You'll only have yourselves to blame, and history will not look at them as people who are thugs or terrorists. They will look at themselves and them as heroes. It's time you started listening to the English people, because right now, this country is a powder keg, and at any moment, that spark could come along and the whole country will go up. Just like that. Do you want that? Because I'll tell you right now, the first casualties will be the establishment, the two-tier police and the justice system. Ask yourselves, do you want this? Do you want this powder keg to blow up in your face for the sakes of trying to defeat the so-called far right.